Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains, and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. Today made what into a movie. We're stepping into the animation department again, but we're going back all the way to the early 90s, where we're looking at one of those OVWs. Yeah, it's OVWs, isn't it? Yeah, one of those again. You know what they are? Short animated films based on video game properties, normally released in Japan around that time, sometimes brought over here through translations and not always the best sort of like what's the word I'm looking for, like dubbing and things like that. In this,
Yeah,
we actually have an English adaptation, so it's quite good overall, I think personally. We are, of course, talking about Fatal Fury, Legend of the Hungry Wolf, an animated TV special based on the fighting game Fatal Fury, which originally aired on Fuji TV December 23rd, 1992. Yeah. The movie was
no,
directed by Hiroshi. Go on, sorry.
sorry, I was just going to say that I couldn't recall. Have we ever played this game?
We'll get into that in a moment. We'll get into
Yeah,
that in a moment. But to begin with, the movie is directed by Hiroshi Fukutomi and feature character designs by Massimo Obori. An English adaptation was produced by Viz Communications, which was released in home video in 1994. And this also has a sequel, Fatal Fury 2, The New Battle, was released in 1993. But that's for the future. So, Fatal Fury, the game. Fatal Fury King of Fighters, as it's actually known, is a 1991 head-to-head fighting game originally released by SNK for the Neo Geo arcade and home platforms. And there's your answer. No. How the hell could we
yeah,
have ever bloody played it? We never had those. Nope. It would be eventually ported to other platforms, including the Super Nintendo in 1992 and the Sega Genesis in 1993, published by Takara. But I never played it. Street
yeah,
Fighters, Mortal Kombat, but not Fatal Fury. I was aware of it. That is the one thing I will say though. I was aware of its existence. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I knew it existed. I'd heard of some of the characters, but I just never watched it. So played it.
yeah. I don't know. It just like it sounded so familiar, but then again, it might have been the same sort of thing. That it was
I
around that period.
I also think I'm not entirely sure in this one, but I think like those big crossover games that we get, like Marvel versus was that there was one like like Capcom versus Marvel and
Mm,
SNK and stuff like that. Like I'm sure I played one of them that had Fatal Fury characters in it, which is where
yeah,
that kind of thing comes from. I'm sure. But yeah, don't quote me on it, obviously. Yeah, it was actually SNK's first fighting game for the Neo Geo system and served as the inaugural game in their Fatal Fury series. The three playable characters in the original game are the Bogard brothers, Terry and Andy, so quite important to this film, alongside
mm,
their friend Joe Higashi. So there you go. The three main characters of this film, or three of the main characters, were in that original game. And in the story, they opposed their nemesis, Geese Howard. Yes, that actually is his name. He is the bad guy
okay.
in this film, and the host of the King of Fighters tournament, where the player must win to defeat enemies and to become the champion and reach Geese. So it's your bog standard fighting game, like anything. Mortal Kombat, you had to climb the tower to face Shao Kahn. Street Fighter, you had to fight your way to M Bison and beat him.
Mm,
Fatal Fury is exactly the same. It's just whereas M Bison and Shao Kahn are really cool names, in this you're fighting to fight Geese. Geese. Who
yeah.
the fuck thought that was a good name? All right. Voice actors. Terry Bogard, voiced by Tatsumi Kashiwari as a child and Kazukiyo Nishikori as an adult. In the Japanese version, I'm going to do both because I want to give props. Even though I'll butcher the names, I'm going to give props to the original voice actors. Our version, Christopher Turner as a child and Mark Hildreth as an adult. Andy Bogard, voiced by Tomoko Mario as a child and Kichi Nanba as an adult. Tony Sampson as a child and Peter Wiles as an adult. Joe Higashi, voiced by Masuki Satiki and Jason Gray Stanford. Lily McGuire, voiced by Kuyuko Inoue and Willow Johnson. Lily, should be noted here, is actually an original character created for the film and does not appear in any of the games.
Okay,
However, in a later game entry, I believe they did an Easter egg where she's in the background of one of the stages.
okay,
Kind of cool.
yeah.
Geese Howard. Fucking geese. I'm going to roll my eyes every time, David. It's so stupid. You know when the film started and they were like, I've got to go defeat geese. Like, all I was like, honk, honk, honk. Like, that's immediately it. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah,
Voiced by Hidekatsu Shibata and Ward Perry. Jeff Bogart did it? Oh yeah, Jeff Bogart. Sorry, it's the father. I'm like, I thought he didn't Bogart, but Jeff
Yeah.
Bogart, voiced by Unsho Izuku and David Kay. Tung Fu Roo, voiced by Koji Yada and Mina Mina. Billy Kane, such a fucking stupid name again, voiced by Daki Nakaruma and Paul Dobson. And lastly, Raiden, or Raiden, depending upon how you choose to say it, not that Raiden, voiced by Hisari Igawa and Robert O. Smith. Right, we actually have a really action-packed start that sees a group of monks attacked and killed by a masked group who is searching for some sort of scroll, which they find. Actually, cool start. And immediately, got to say it, honestly, what is about these OVWs back from the early 90s? This animation holds up, man. I'm like, that looks good. I was down. And I
Yeah.
think there are several times in this film that I'm like, that looks really good. Like, that would work still today for me.
Yeah, it's amazing that this was before like the 90s, so it's just
92, 1992.
yeah, it's
Like,
fantastic.
it's 1992. So you're probably thinking about this animation being created in like 1991. So
Yeah,
like we haven't quite, I mean, that's really good.
yeah, definitely.
Cut to South Town. It's a beautiful day, and young Terry and Andy Bogart are out with their master Tung Fu Roo and their adopted father, Jeff Bogart. Jeff is distracted by a group of poor children who beg him for money and a pretty young flower girl. It is a lot at once, but actually a distraction so four men can attack him. Jeff is a fighter though, but unfortunately is stabbed in the back. And as he collapses, he's confronted by his old rival, Geese Howard. I mean, look, if you summed this up to people, right, and went, right, the opening fight, it's really cool. Guy gets stabbed, all of that. His name's Jeff, and he gets stabbed by Geese. That is not cool. There's nothing. Do you know what I mean? Where's
Yeah,
Luke? Like, here's Liu Kang, and here's Ryu and Ken, and like all these cool people, and like Sagat, and all like, do you know what I mean? Like, and oh, over here we've got Jeff and Geese.
is that
What are we doing?
is that your name in the game then too, Joe?
Yeah.
Flipping out, okay.
100%. Yeah. Like, and the fact that like Terry and Andy are like, and I can live with Terry and Andy, but like Bogart, it's such a shit. I just laugh when I'm like, Geese kills Jeff. Oh, it just sounds so dumb. Anyway, he tries to fight the man, but his wounds are too great and he's defeated as Geese delivers a killing blow. As the two boys and their master arrive, they see the flower girl getting in the car with Geese, although it seems she's more traumatized by what just happened, suggesting that she may not have been part of it per se.
Yeah, put up there, yeah.
In the car, Geese receives a call confirming that they have the scroll, which has revealed the whole special martial arts techniques. Story. I'm cool. We've only got like a 40-minute film here, and we're getting a little bit of a story, so I'm down.
Yeah.
And with these techniques, he will be unstoppable. In case you weren't sure that old Geese was the bad guy, he does a proper maniacal laugh here, like like it's a bit like too obvious. I was like, chill, man. We get it. We know you're the baddie. In front of Jeff's grave, the boys are angry with Tung and can't understand how their master is not looking to avenge their father. And he points out, look, guys, he's super powerful. I was like, you coward! You know what I mean? And he ends up making the boys, look, promise, in 10 years, go away, become really skilled and powerful. And then in 10 years' time, we'll all reunite to avenge your father. I was like, you cop out. That's like he's a proper like, if I just tell him to do this, and then I'll hopefully never see them again. I was like, you cheeky fuck.
Yeah, it is a cop out. I was more expecting like the whole where vengeance is not the right path or something. That's sort of like training.
It makes
sort
more
of thing.
sense, right? Like you've got to go, you've got to tap into your chi or your ki, you got to do all this stuff, peace and harmony. And then I also thought, well, what would happen is one brother will be angry and the other won't. Ken and Ryu style. Then that kind of exists to a degree here, but they don't have enough time to building it, so they don't really. Because now we immediately cut to 10 years later. Now, I am happy with the pacing to a degree, and I feel like the opening set up the story enough. But I couldn't give a fuck about Andy and Terry's loss. That's the mistake. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose with a 40-minute movie, there's going to be fast paced. So I appreciate that they tried, but yeah, I do agree. Like you have no connection to that character, so
not at all. It's not the most egregious problem lengthwise. I'll get to that later. But for now, this certainly is an early one. So Terry, we see, has returned to Southtown, having been away for a decade. He goes straight to a bar where he starts asking questions about Geese, who hears about this and sends his right-hand man, Billy Kane, to investigate. So, like, we don't hang around here. same bar, Geese is here, and already like they were connecting up, and his right hand
Yeah.
man Billy Kane's involved. So I thought, whoa, slow down, like. But there you go. In here, he meets Lily McGuire, the Queen of Southtown. She arrives, much to the horny joy of the men in the bar. So
Yeah.
this is an adult OVA, but not like sexual or sex in any particular way, but it certainly implies things. And her outfit is a big part of it. So like they've dressed her in a dress, but they've given her large boobs,
Mm.
obviously, but they've given her like an outfit that barely covers them, and they basically made every man go, oh, like a cartoon character turning into fox heads and howling at the moon and woo when she
It
turns
seems to
up,
be
that kind of thing.
it seems to be like one of those big things back in the 90s with those sort of like manga style.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
sexualization of women, the
yeah,
total sexualization of women. And Lily is only here to be an object. It is completely, we'll get into more of that later on, because any depth to her backstory is completely lost because there's
it's
no time.
it's pointless. Yeah,
Yeah. So Lily says that she'll throw the rose she's carrying, and whoever catches it can spend the night in the town with her. What?
yeah,
That's weird, right?
yeah. Because for what I got, I presume what you're probably thinking too.
Well, I was like, okay, she's saying spend the night in the town, so she means go out. But I'm like, these dudes are so horny because they're all like, rah, rah, like losing their fucking mind over her, that they're gonna be like, hey, hopefully if we have a good night, I'll get to sleep with her.
Yeah,
But also, like, isn't this is like even if it's not prostitution, isn't this escort? This is an escort service. And I'm like,
pretty
but
much.
isn't
Yeah,
her father super powerful? Why would he be sending his daughter like? Because it seems that she's being forced to. I did not get it.
yeah. It was definitely a confusing one because why would she need to be there?
Yeah. So some guy catches it, but everybody else fights and he ends up losing it, which Terry ends up catching as well. This turns into a multi-man brawl because rightfully, that man's like, hey, bro, I want that rose back. I caught it first. And Terry's all like, I ain't giving it back to you. No, no, no. And it turns into a brawl, which Terry wins with relative ease, but it's kind of got a tongue-in-cheek silliness about it, this fight. I thought it was a fun enough thing, you know?
Yeah,
But Terry, he don't care. He throws that rose back to Lily. He's all like, I don't want it. Get out of my face, bitch. He's not like that. I'm just being a little over the top for fun.
yeah,
But he's basically, you keep it. But he's now confronted by Joe Higashi, a champion Muay Thai kickboxer, and they face off. Seeing Terry's stance, Joe recognizes it. Get used to hearing stances in this. Apparently,
yeah.
that's it. And that's fine. But the police now arrive and try to arrest him. Joe knocks them over, though, and he and Terry run off. All this is seen by Geese, who demands to know who they are. Okay, that's fine. Joe
Yeah.
and Terry run through alleys where the former reveals that he's a longtime friend and rival of Andy, and he invites Terry back to his hotel room. Oh, I was like, sweet. We're
Yeah.
not gonna get no like ladies. We're gonna get some man on man action. Because he even says like, "Hey, I've got like a bottle of whiskey back there." Like fucking sweet. This
Yeah,
is different for the 90s.
yeah,
There they
definitely.
start to enjoy some whiskey, and Joe talks about he and Andy's friendship, and Terry talks about his excitement of seeing his brother again soon. Joe is excited to hear that he's come to town too, and reveals that he's in Southtown to enter the King of Tournaments fighter, suggesting that hey, you should enter too. We then see that Geese has been given the information that he wanted about Andy and Joe because this film's got no time to do anything but just burn through this stuff.
Yeah,
The next day, Terry finds Lily outside talking to some poor children. So, unfortunately, if anything happened in the hotel room between Terry and Joe, we didn't get to see it. I was super disappointed. We don't have enough dong in Manda. More dong in
yeah,
Manda. More dong in manga. I'm starting to freaking chant for it. But yeah, Lily's giving these poor children food and money. And I was like, oh, right. So, like, you just want to lay on really thickly that she's super nice, helping poor
yeah,
children out. They get into it as he implies that she's caged in her way. What a dick. Honestly, the way he speaks to her here, oh, I know all about you. You're caged. You do this, you do that. It's a proper, like I wanted her to turn around and be like, shut up, you prick. Like, just shut
yeah,
up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who do you think you are? But you know what? It's a 1992 OVA from Japan. Instead, she goes, oh, oh, he knows me. Oh, I will give
Yeah.
myself to him. Later on, I love him. He called me out on my bullshit. No, I love him.
Mm.
Guys, gonna give you fair warning. Women don't actually like that.
Yeah.
Geese is nearby in a car and orders a man to follow him before Lily is summoned to get in. Terry now recognizes her as the flower girl who helped Geese murder his father. I don't know why he puts that together, but there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a big revelation, yeah, and how do you guess it? Yeah,
And say he just gets a vibe. I don't know, maybe she kind of looks like it. Let's just give him a benefit of the doubt here.
yeah,
In the car, Geese asks if she knows Terry, but she claims to not know him. Walking through a graveyard, Terry is attacked by a mysterious man. As they go to strike each other, Tongue stops them, and the brothers reunite. This is Andy, something Terry was aware of. My favorite scene in the film. Thought this
mm.
immediately is how you set up these brothers. He drops down, they're ready to fight. Tongue's like, all right, you two, behave. And Terry, rather than being like angry with each other, Terry's just like, oh, you got off lucky there. Hey, you slugger. Like, it's fun. I really liked it. You know what was really nice to not see? Sibling rivalry. I thought it
Yeah.
was going to be all about they had sibling rivalry, but this isn't actually about that at all.
Mm.
And I'm glad it's just a bit fresher. But I like the dynamic straight away. Great scene.
Yeah, it does seem to be a common thing. Like, with the two, like, you always had Ken and Rio had a rivalry. Two brothers. It always seems to be a
Yeah.
common thing. It's the first time in these sort of films that there has been like that sort of connection. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just really nice. As they go to Tongue compliments them on their skills and tells them of a technique called the Hurricane Punch that only he knows, which he will teach to only one of them. Okay, this is the biggest plot hole problem in this film and story. The entire thing revolves around only one of them can learn these techniques. Why? And like the implication is like, oh, only one of you is the true warrior and all that kind of thing, which I think is really insulting to the other, like
yeah,
really insulting. And I like it's just a technique. It can be used and taught in different ways. I just thought like that they put so much emphasis on it only being taught to one person that I just felt like it was just too stupid. Like, and by putting such emphasis on it, it didn't like. There's a way to doing it where it's like I will teach you both, right? But by chance, only one of them gets taught it before the end of the film, and he can still do the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing. You know? I don't know. I didn't really like it.
Mm.
We see now Andy as a hothead, wanting to be torn over Terry and suggesting they fight for it now. Terry decides that both he and Andy should enter the King of Fighters tournament, and should one of them be the victor, Tongue will teach that victor the technique. Tongue tells him that Geese uses his money to control the tournament, and the brothers also see it as an opportunity to get to him. Geese now learns that the brothers are entering the tournament, ordering his men to kill them. A lot happens here, and none of it makes fucking sense.
Yeah.
None of it. Just fucking fight and learn. What do you learn the technique? Why go all the way through the tournament to learn the technique, which you will need before you get to the end of it? What do you mean Geese uses his money to control the tournament? Because what we see is a tournament play out like any other. What do you mean Geese uses his money to control the tournament? If you're
Mm.
planning to use his money to then kill off people that are doing well in it, say that.
Yeah.
Oh, the moment people become a threat, they mysteriously disappear, and it's Geese with his money and things like that. That's what you do. You can't say Geese controls the tournament, like because that implies he's fixing it.
Yeah.
How? Something how? Because that's not what
Yeah.
happens at all. At all.
Yeah, there's a lot of information being thrown in that one little section, and it's just
Just
like it's too short. It's too short of a film to be fine. All that information out.
yeah. And if Geese can control the tournament, why then is he ordering his men to kill them?
Mm.
He doesn't want them to enter the tournament then, right? But if he controls the tournament with his money, why not? Why even let them enter at all?
Mm.
Say, hey, nobody who hasn't lived in Southtown for the last 5 years can. You've been gone for 10 years. You don't just get to
Yeah.
enter. Make some sort of rule that you have to be, I don't know, registered in a specific competition the way others, Joe is and stuff like that. Like, do
No
you know what I mean?
one,
Like,
no one with vengeance on mind get into my tournament.
yeah, anybody named Terry and Andy is not allowed to enter the tournament. Anyway, the tournament begins and Geese orders his daughter to deliver poisoned champagne to Terry before his fight. What? I thought your men were going to kill them. Why are you involving your daughter?
Yeah.
Right, that's a weird one. This while we see Andy defeat Joe quickly and easily. Now, see, that should have been a bigger scene. And the
Yeah,
whole tournament should be a bigger sequence in this film, the fight. But because we don't have enough time, it's kind of just montagey.
that's the problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought it was a shame because the animation is really good.
Mm.
So Lily goes to Terry, but can't bring herself to give him the poisoned champagne as she has developed feelings for him. Sure.
It was,
Why
it,
not?
it was always going to happen. Yeah, it was so obvious.
Now, you have to fill in the blanks here yourself because the film does not explain this. But I summarized it as this. I'm like, okay, she's got feelings for him. Based off what? And I'm like, okay, so maybe the whole caged thing, she does feel like she's in a cage because of her father's dominance. But we
Yeah.
didn't see enough of that to really make me believe it. But also, like, he called her out on her bullshit, like, and stuff like that. So she's like, oh my God, my man. Oh, I give myself to him. So, I mean, that's what it is. Like, that's the best I've got. And you know what? Fucking hate it.
Yeah.
They share a kiss, and Terry heads off for his fight, which is against Richard Meyer. There you go. He's all like, don't go anywhere. And I'm like, he's going to come back to bang.
Yeah.
Woo! Seeing that Lily has failed, Geese orders his men to target Tongue. I thought your men were going to target the boys. At least show us a scene of your men failing.
Exactly. Yep.
As the fight starts, Joe notices a man who tries to assassinate the Bogards and takes the bullet intended for them. Fucking hell, Joe. Fucking hell, right? It's a bit much to throw, like, to be like, I'll kill myself for them. But he ends up getting shot in the shoulder happily. As the gunman lines up his next shot, the lights go out. When they come back on, Terry, Andy, and Joe are gone. It was Lily. And with her help, they are able to escape. I guess she found the circuit breaker. You know what all stadiums have famously? One thing to turn
Oh
everything
yeah,
off.
one switch. Yeah.
The entire stadium just goes off. That's hilarious. Unfortunately, Geese arrives before Lily can climb out the window, and in what has to be the most rushed shock moment of it, he kills her, throwing
Yep.
her out the window with his Rapukin wave technique. What? And rightfully, Terry can only watch in shock. I was shocked as she dies, and Lily asks him again for forgiveness over Jeff's death. And Terry reassures her that he's never blamed anyone but Geese for it, and she dies. And he's furious, especially when we get, because remember, Geese is evil. Geese, the sound of Geese laughing from the room upstairs. Yeah, this shocked me. I was like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
was not expecting that. You know, so after that big love story, and so it shocked me. Yeah, all the effort of building that love story and then falling in
Chuck out the
love and
window.
going on dates.
Out the window she goes. No time now to go back and deal with Geese those surrounded and doesn't look for the brothers and hurt Joe. But here's Tongue in a car to rescue him. He is injured by Billy Kane as the race away. Blink and you'll miss it. But yes, he is injured by Billy Kane as the race away. So injured that ends up hospitalized in a coma. Andy, angered by Tongue's injury, sets off to Geese's lair. So he's the hothead. He's like, I'll go
Yeah,
beat him. He runs into Joe, who haven't been patched up, declares that he's coming with them. Tongue now awakes and demands that Terry take him outside. Hurt as Tongue is, he tells Terry that he will be the one to learn the hurricane punch. I guess because he's the one that stuck around.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
He shows him how to do it, but the effort kills him. So yeah, the effort of doing this move, tapping into his key, kills him. Oh no, everybody really liked Tongue. With a new technique in hand, Terry heads off to Geese's lair. Meanwhile, Andy and Joe are battling away to Geese, dealing with goons, and then Billy Kane and Raiden. Now, you might be wondering who Raiden is. He's like in one scene in the background. He's basically a goon, but like a big wrestler-style goon. He's from the
yeah,
games, but he's just sort of jammed in here. That's it. I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They eventually make it to Geese, but neither are strong enough to defeat him. Good thing Terry arrives and attacks Geese using his techniques. But they do nothing to Geese. He tries to use this same technique, but it still isn't enough. What is he going to do?
Yep.
He needs more energy. And when thinking of those he loves, including Lily, he's able to absorb more ki and use his final technique, the hurricane kick, which defeats Geese. Who wins? I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah,
happens afterwards. I don't know, like, did Geese die? Do we carry on? I don't really know.
yeah, yeah.
Because later, Terry, Annie, and Joe meet up at Jeff Bogart's grave, before they all go off their separate ways, planning to do separate things, enter different tournaments, and then see each other again in the future. Which is an actual end scene I don't mind. But yeah, it's a beginning. It's got a beginning, middle, and end, and it's a well-told story overall. It's just rushed because there's not enough time to do it. However, I do believe, aside from filling in some of the blanks and making things matter a little more, this could have also been overdone. This could have been too long for what it is. It's a very basic bitch fighting game transformed into a cartoon story, and they've done a good job of that. We've seen this before with Battle Arena to Shinden. What else have we done in that one? Whichever one we did. Ninja Gaiden, stuff like that. We've seen these things done and done well. And I think this is another good example. I wanted a bit more fleshed out for the kids' relationship to feel more agreed about their father. And I also wanted a little bit more with Lily as a character and why her death should be more important and stuff like that. All of that would have been nice. I think an extra 10 minutes maybe to sort of put stuff in there. Maybe, no, an extra 15 and then dedicate another 5 to the tournament. Actually give us some fights.
Yeah, because I mean, these sort of like animations, you know, especially like all the fighting ones, you want to see more fighting scenes, you know, and you know, for 45,
point, right?
Yeah, exactly, and there wasn't enough. I mean, I actually quite enjoyed it. I always enjoy these 90s sort of animated like films, and they're always pretty decent. Even the semi bad ones, they're still pretty decent and enjoyable to watch. You know, so.
Well, put it this way, I'm looking forward to doing the second one. I'm intrigued now to see what we get, particularly as I'm a bit more familiar with these characters now. And this coming from two people that, well, as far as we both know, have never actually played a Fatal Fury game.
Nope.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Legend of the Hungry Wolf, Fatal Fury. What do you think? You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.